Hey guys, welcome back to a new LP on the channel. This one's gonna be really interesting because if you guys know, for the past couple of years, I was playing Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and I really loved the game. And this is similar. It actually, I think, is very much inspired by Phoenix Wright, but it's Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. It is basically fantasy Ace Attorney. I am very excited for this, so let's get into the first case, the cold-hearted aristocrat. I think it's a little bit of a different, like, it's slightly different. Oh gosh, why is everything like lumped together down at the bottom? I think that's just the loading screen. I hope that's just the loading screen. Okay, that was weird because like this game kind of, if I accidentally hit my mouse, like it switches over, and I didn't realize, like it smushed everything down at the bottom because I cut my mouse back on, moved the mouse, and then it just fixed everything. In the kingdom of Wyverngard, there was a gulf between what was lawful and what was just. Artificery ran in the house of the aristocrats, disease and vermin ran through the homes of the common folk. People suffered, people died, all so the mages and the nobility could keep their plates full and their lives comfortable. Nevertheless, they still wanted us to have the illusion of hope. They challenged us to win, leaving out the fact that they were the ones setting the rules. Many just threw up their hands and no one could blame them. You could never lose if you never played. I can't... Oh my gosh! I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. This is actually really, like, it's so interesting, like, right there. Like, you do have, like, occupation and the age and all that. Like, it's some of the stuff that would have been, like, in, like, a separate thing on Phoenix Wright. So that's really interesting. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. That was when I saw the defendant lit by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flintheart, and her sword was shining with magical energy. Objection! Oh my gosh. This, like, so feels like a love story for, Phoenix Wright. Like it feels so good. Mr. Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client murdering the victim, and you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so. Yes, I could never forget it. It was burnt into my memory. I see. Funny you should say that. What? Because your entire testimony was a complete lie. Sorry, I'm like listening to the music trying to see if I can hear the like Ace Attorney music. Like, I'm not good at music theory and whatnot, so I'm trying to like, can I pick up on the motifs? Probably not. I'm not good at this stuff. What? What are you trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert? Steelwind, think about the state of the crime scene. This witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. Maybe the rules and institutions were impossible. Maybe I was just a grain of sand trying to stand against an ocean. And I would never stop rising, no matter how many times they tried to drown me. I would do it again and again if it meant that I could give hope to even one person. That was why I fought. This is really, like, there's, you know what it's kind of giving me the vibes of? A combination of Sherlock Holmes with Ace Attorney. Maybe it's just the aristocratic, like, I think it was Gilded era of England, kind of when Sherlock Holmes, and specifically, in my brain, I'm thinking Moriarty the Patriot. Sweat was soaking through my suit. The air of the countryside was choking me. I fumbled with the leather reins, tugging at them tightly. Horse! Occupation. Horse. This idiot learned how to drive. Animals were funny like that. You'd never know if they were constantly making their objections known. I caught many complaints like that through my eye of horrors. Cuthbert, keep this carriage steady. Oh, I love how that looks. Ruby Tamora, my mentor and legal guardian. She raised me after my mother was killed and taught me everything I know about being an attorney. Is she gonna die too? Sorry for spoilers for Ace Attorney if you haven't played it. But like, I don't, like, go watch the original. But, I have nothing. Yes, Miss Tamora. My mentor barely looked up from her ruin stone. She was staring at some magical projection, probably some court files from a case she was working on. I stared longer than I should have. I just passed the legal certification exam, which only meant that a ruin stone of my own was coming my way. I just had to prove myself, and this trip was the perfect opportunity. Descendants was brewing in the countryside. We were on our way to meet with one of the voices of revolution. The village we were driving to was nearly the edge of the eastern border, far from the capital city of the kingdom's center. Here, we ran the risk of running into the military forces deployed to silence voices like his. Whoever this Flintheart McCoy was, Miss Tamora's business with him must have been worth all this trouble. Miss Tamora, maybe you should switch with me. And what would you learn if I did that? Maybe I was worried about nothing. Practical experience was always a key part of learning whenever she was involved. Why else would she quietly sit there immersed in her court files? That rock just... We hit a kid! That rock just... Oh, sweet baby. Grabbed the reins and pulled them with everything I had. The horse slowed to a stop. It is interesting that we are getting a lot more... I don't remember this much, like, exposition, but again, it's a fantasy base, so there is more explaining as opposed to something more contemporary. The child was laying down, face down in the dirt. A puddle of blood was pooling under her. Scaled Lord! I wasn't sure what to do. I wish I had never procrastinated reading those first aid books. I looked at my mentor. She approached the scene quietly and slowly. Her eyes went to the child, then to the surrounding forest. She seemed to be searching for something. She was wearing the same expression she'd use when expecting a crime scene. Is she trying to see if we can get away with killing this kid? I swear. Why would a kid be out in the middle of nowhere? It's Tamora. I say we keep driving and never speak of this again. Yep. It's Tamora. She's just a child.
Oh, pain. I can see the light.
I caught a puzzling thought through my eye of horrors. Late to his cue, a man clad in plate armor leaped out from some nearby bushes and stumbled towards us. Planted his feet firmly on the ground in front of us, puffing out his chest. By the Scaled Lord, look what you've done.
Scaled Lord, I think I can see him. My family, who all died of the plague in 589, they're also there.
I also love that this music kind of has like this little jerpy vibe, and as this kid is dying. It's kind of great. Her lines were historically accurate. Okay, so we can't do anything about this. This just shows up. We do have the stuff, but there's nothing we could do with the horrors. I guess this is the same as the, oh shoot, what is it called? The, lockboxing in Phoenix Wright. Poor Taos, she's dead because of you. This is a serious crime. The fine is 10, no, 20 gold pieces. Oh, that's interesting that we're seeing like the internal thoughts. 20 gold pieces? The average sentence for vehicular manslaughter was 2 years of imprisonment. I'll have no choice but to rush you unless you can pay this fine. Oh, that's what this is. I side-eyed the child, apparently named Alma. I spotted tiny tomato seeds into her pool of blood. You might want to call someone to retrieve Alma's body then. Her eyes opened and her head whipped up to look at me. I locked eyes for a second before her head fell back to the ground. I looked at my mentor again, but she just leaned her head and gestured towards the two con artists. It appeared that I was being given another learning lesson. I couldn't complain though. I didn't appreciate being treated like an easy mark. Oh, this is interesting! You started an argument. Defeat your opponent by lowering their confidence. Pick the correct option will do damage to your opponent. However, picking the wrong option does damage to your confidence. Context and clues to determine which option to pick. Anyways, what will it be? Can we take it to the barracks? Will you pay your fine, or do we need to sort this out of the barracks? During arguments, sometimes you'll be asked to pick one of 3 possible dialogue responses. The correct dialogue will depend on the context of your opponent's claim and their psychological profile. Let's call him out on his bluff. Certainly, why don't you bring us back to your barracks? What? But it is strange that you'd bring us to your barracks instead of the dungeons. I'll also probably want to call your unit to escort us. After all, it'd be dangerous for one knight to transport 2 criminals by himself. I keep going into Phoenix Wright. Every time. Shut up. Don't think you can talk your way out of this. Pay the fine for your crimes. You seriously gonna make me take you in? Just pay the damn fine. During arguments, sometimes you'll be asked to present pieces of evidence in response to a claim. Look at your opponent's claim carefully and present the items that contradict it. So the only thing we have is vehicular manslaughter, of which there's no fine. Except a crime like this wouldn't involve a fine at all. What? Vehicular manslaughter has an average sentence of 2 years of imprisonment. With the death of the child, though, I can see the crown pushing for more than that. Who the hell are you? I'm a defense attorney. I can recite every one of your kingdom's laws back to you. The knight looked nervously between Miss Tamora and me. That's it. His hand shot to the rusty sword hanging from his side. He fumbled with it for a bit before pulling it out and waving it at us. I took a step. My mentor put herself in front of me. I do kind of like the whole thing of enough talk. Give us the gold and I won't have to hurt either of you. During arguments, your Eye of Horus will show you your opponent's thoughts and emotions after they make a claim. Compare your opponent's thoughts to the claim and pick the correct option. Okay, so we have to use this because his claim is he's going to use violence, but he can't because he can't move. But it could be also the empathy. Stared at his plate of honor. On a closer look, it seemed to be varnished wood painted to give off a metallic sheen. I reached past his sword and knocked on his breastplate and let out a hollow thunk instead of a resonant clang. I didn't know the kingdom was cutting back. Would this even protect you in a fight? Are you threatening me? Litigation, perhaps? I have a sword. You won't use it. Look, let's just cut the charade. It's not happening. I really like that. That is actually really fun. Alma rose from the dead and began wiping the rotten, crushed tomatoes off her shirt.
Sorry about that stuff about the plague. I thought the stuff about the plague would help.
Don't worry about it. It's still morning. Someone else will come by.
Or it's been empty for days. What if we're the only ones?
The kingdom of Wyvern Guard, established 613 years ago by the 7 high archmages ruled by King Olivier and the mages of his nobility. They'll often preach that our large kingdom was a land of prosperity and happiness, a nation where its people shared the wealth and succor created by its magic. Oh, this is so interesting. Here. I took out a neatly wrapped sandwich from my satchel and handed it to Alma. Or held it out to Alma. Fuck.
What?
You'll probably find this more filling than porridge. The man narrowed his eyes, appraising me like the knight he'd been impersonating. He snatched the wrapped sandwich from me, peeling back the bread to inspect its contents. His mouth salivated when he caught a whiff of the sliced deli meat. No poison to be found, apparently. He handed it to Alma, who eagerly began munching down on it. I was probably the first person to share any wealth or succor with them in a long time. Just tell me one thing. What gave it away? What do you mean? It spent a while sanding this armor down. I had to go through 3 attempts just to get it perfectly smooth. I even mixed the paint myself. It's got the sheen and everything. How'd you know it was fake? I thought to myself for a while. You clearly went for a woad, matter, and weld for your paint. I'm also guessing you used a touch of gall ink for the shadows. They're decent choices if you're trying to paint a shield, but they're useless if you're trying to mimic the complex nooks and edges of plate armor. He just blinked at me. Seriously? Plate doesn't tint that way. Real plate catches the ambient light in cool tones. Your mix was a little too warm. Shook his head, wide-eyed. jazzy and it feels like we're in the 20s, but we're also in fantasy. It's fascinating.
Cuthbert, was that stuff about the paint really true?
No, I just read it from his mind. Did you see the look on his face? I kind of understand why my mom enjoyed fortune telling so much. She said nothing in response. Her eyes were locked on my satchel, now 1 meal short. I'll be fine. They probably skipped a lot more meals than I have.
In case you've forgotten, they were trying to scam us.
If they really wanted to hurt anyone, they'd throw away that fake armor and just use the sword. We should be helping our fellow commoners, right? Isn't that why we practice law?
Just don't expect me to share my lunch with you. I spent a good 15 minutes haggling for those sandwiches. Do we even need to haggle? It's a matter of principle. You give everyone an inch and they'll take a mile.
We arrived at Cornhaven, but I smelled the stench before I even spotted the village. The smell of rotting meat and excrement hung in the air. I had to fight the urge to retch. I did my best to swallow my disgust. I've been begging Miss Tamora to take me on her outings for years. Couldn't show weakness now.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I was just surprised.
Did you expect a ruling lord to install modern plumbing in a village like this?
I guess I never really thought about it.
You'll get used to it once you've traveled more. This is just how things are in the outer regions.
Really made me appreciate the clean and sanitary streets of the capital. There, the streets and homes were loaded with artificery. We had clean and running water, we had lights that didn't rely on oil and flame. It was as if this village existed in a different time period. I reprimanded myself. I wasn't above this. The people here were just commoners. Just like me. They only lived like this out of a lack of care from the kingdom.
Take a left here. The tavern should be at the edge of town.
I'm really curious because there's something in my gut that is going to involve us going up against Ruby. Because she's kind of like, it kind of seems like she's just like fine with everything that's going on, where it seems like we're more like, this is wrong, we need to do something, but we're not doing like big changes, it's like little things. Which is like, you know, for like most people that's about the extent that we can do, but it's really interesting.
If the reports are right, this should be the place.
Cause like, it seems like she's doing stuff, but there almost has that like ulterior, but again, that's kind of sometimes how it is with like the mentor aspects of things. But I need to stop speculating. We are like barely in this game, and I'm already like, here's how it's gonna go in the end. I got speculations for the end, which is sometimes fun, but it's like, I'm not even in the we're like barely into the first episode. Is this really the meeting for dissidents against the crown? Glenhart had done an amazing job of disguising their headquarters as a rundown shack.
The tavern's been shut down for a few years. Nowadays, Flinhar McCoy just uses it to host his rallies.
Hey, you lot, the McCoy Tavern's closed. The dissident leader stormed out our carriages as we parked. He had a roughness to him that matched the state of his tavern. He was practically growling at us with every word. He got close to Miss Tamora's face, his feet firmly planted on the ground. She was unflinching, of course, standing her ground as he leered at the two of us.
I take it you're Flinhar McCoy?
What's it to you? I do love the whole, like this is so cool. Leader of the revolutionary faction in Cornhaven and owner of McCoy Tavern, he seems to have an extreme grudge against mages and nobility, but that sentiment tends to be common nowadays.
Sorry for not writing ahead of time, but my messages weren't getting through. I'm Ruby Tamora. I've been trying to get in touch with you, Flinhar.
What? His eyes narrowed a bit before widening in recognition of the name. Wait, Ruby Tamora. Why didn't you say so? Come on in. His tone flipped to jovial in an instant. Now it's as if he was greeting an old friend. I was surprised people out here even knew who she was. I hadn't thought her infamy had spread only... I'd have thought her infamy had only spread into the city. I promise I can read. I guess he acknowledged her as an ally. They both had a common enemy after all. Oh, okay. So it does seem like she is kind of doing something. I guess I should have realized that, but like sometimes my brain is like, oh, okay, we're gonna have like a showdown or something like that. Like we're gonna have a betrayal. We're gonna have some aspect of that. Because it's always like interesting and different, and then it's like you get that like whiplash of like, oh, they were on our side, you know, that whole thing. But it could also be just betrayal. I don't know. Excuse me, we haven't seen a lot of guests.
It's fine.
My mentor looked around warily as she brushed aside a spider web hanging in front of her. Oh gosh, sometimes I can't read. So what brings you here? I doubt someone like you has anything to see out here.
One of my clients has been trying to talk to you. We have a proposition that you'll be interested in.
I raised my eyebrow at her. This is the first time I had heard of this client.
Is there anywhere we could talk in private?
Got a bunch of empty rooms upstairs.
Perfect, Cuthbert. Stay here for a moment.
Don't you need my help?
There's no need for that.
How was there no need? The Eye of Horus could extract anything she needed from him. That glare overruled my objection before I could get it out. Without another word, they went up the stairs. At some point, we will try to get a voice for Tyrion. I don't know, it might be at the end of it all. We'll try. I drummed my hands on the dusty table looking around the tavern. It definitely had a lot of personality if one counted dust and insects as character traits. Faint murmurs echoed from the ceiling, slightly stressed. It sounded like their conversation was becoming more frustrated. I brought out a small chessboard from my satchel. Even after a decade, it served me well. Chess could be played with one person, something that I'd always taken advantage of. I had a match with the Duke of Commerce scheduled in a few months. Wasn't too worried about him, but might as well take this opportunity. Checkmate. I lost again while playing his white. It was 3 times now.
Oh, hello.
Statistically, white was more likely to win, so why was I performing better as black? Was I becoming overconfident as white because it had an advantage?
Hello?
Very advantage could be affecting my choice and making me play suboptimally. If a personal quirk was making me play like this, then I needed to identify and correct it.
Hey!
I'd nearly toppled out of my seat when she tapped me on the shoulder. She stepped back and flashed me a soft grin. Her body swayed playfully, amused by how flustered I was. Her posture was unguarded. It was as if she'd never felt threatened in her life. I will say, this definitely has a lot more exposition. It is quite a bit of telling, which sometimes, like, in visual novels, like, you don't have, like, the motion to kind of show that. But it is definitely doing a lot more telling. But again, it could be the fantasy element. I'm not sure. I don't think I've played too many, like, fantasy visual novels. Like, usually I kind of stick with more contemporary stuff, because then you can kind of cheat with not having to do so much, like, explaining and, you know, scenery building and stuff like that, because it's like, we know what a building looks like. But in fantasy, like, you can have a building, but it's, like, floating or something like that. Or it's, like, you know, like, stuff like that because of the magic system that's in it. I don't know. She was holding a large exotic sword in her right hand, but I barely even noticed it. As her warm and bright aura washed over me, it pulled away any tension and unease I might have felt. Sorry, I was distracted.
You know the McCoy Tavern is closed, right? But if you're okay with keeping things off the book, I can prepare a room for you.
No, that's fine. I'm just waiting for my mentor to finish speaking with Flintheart.
Oh, someone's talking to my dad?
Your dad?
I'm Flintheart's daughter, Celeste.
Okay, so Celeste is a merc, the only daughter of Flintheart. She's cheerful and sweet, also a little intimidating. The eyes of a killer. I'm Tyrion. Nice to meet you.
Do you know when they'll be done? I wanted to show him something.
Mumbling upstairs was becoming more frustrated. Celeste tilted her head as she looked at the ceiling, but soon got distracted by my chessboard.
Wait, this game is chess, isn't it? Are you playing against someone?
Oh, I was playing by myself, actually.
Oh.
Playing alone helps me hone my strategy. Plenty of professionals do it.
Hey, don't worry about it. I'm not the type to shame a man for playing with himself.
Oh my gosh. Oh, the humor. It's good. She just chuckled and she drank in my reaction. I looked away from her before clearing my throat. Have you ever played it before?
I've read about it in some books a while ago. Ugh, this room is always so dusty.
Inviting herself, she sat down in the chair opposite mine. She brushed off some dust from the table with her sleeve and began setting up her side of the board.
Where does the horse go again?
Checkmate. It only took 2 moves. She'd fallen into a classic trap. Felt a little guilty, but my mentor always said that failure was the best teacher.
Wait, what? Already? How did you do that?
I decided against telling her the name of that mate. She just grumbled under her breath as we both moved our pieces back into place.
So, what kind of business does your mentor have with my dad?
I'm honestly not sure. She doesn't really tell me much. Think it has something to do with his dissonance against the ground? Sorry, should I not be saying that out loud?
It's fine.
She stroked her chin as her hand moved and hesitated over each of her pieces. She hadn't realized that she'd been led into another trap. Here. She moved her knight into the position to attack my queen. She blocked my initial assault on her king, but checkmate. Scholars mate this time.
What? How do you keep doing that?
The more you play, the more you'll be able to recognize specific boards. Look at the hang of it in time. She just glared at the board. Glanced at the ceiling. Mr. Moore and Flintheart's argument was only getting worse. Didn't sound like they would be done anytime soon. Wait, okay, I have two theories. Either one, are we doing another thing where the first case is the mentor's death? Which would be interesting. But it's like, why y'all gotta do it again? We've already, like you could have held off. Or it could be something in which things are getting faked and she's faking her death. I've been in this story, like, not dead bandwagon for too long. Let's move on.
Figured out what the problem is.
Is it that you keep mobilizing your pieces without intention?
It's food, Tyrion. I need food.
She stood up and stomped towards the kitchen, but not before spinning around back to me.
We're not done yet. Don't you dare leave.
A few minutes later, she returned carrying a gigantic slab of cooked meat on a small plate. Stared at it for a while, wondering if she was planning on to eat all that in one sitting. She began setting up her side of the board with one hand while holding a fork and knife in the other. She was somehow twirling both utensils in her right hand to switch between them. She delicately carved a small piece of meat with a knife before spinning to a fork to bring it to her mouth. She tilted her head at me and swallowed the bite whole.
Hey, it's your move.
Right. For someone who had never played before, she was quickly improving with each game. It took me a while before I even noticed, but she was adapting my strategies and trying to use them against me. She caught me unaware a few times. At this rate, she was learning she could easily surpass a nationally ranked noble with enough practice. Checkmate. And I had been playing this game far longer than she had, and I was ranked far above the average noble. She just narrowed her eyes at me.
How are you always one step ahead of me? It's like you're reading my mind.
I could, but I'd never allowed myself to when playing.
I'll get you this time.
She began placing the pieces back in place when her stomach groaned loudly.
Didn't you just eat, girl?
Celeste blinked at me, startled for a moment, then she giggled. Excuse me?
Have you eaten it?
Oh, that was us, not her. I thought it was her.
Oops. Have you eaten anything?
No.
Oh!
She looked around for a moment, but her eyes went to her slab of mystery meat.
You want some of this? We have a lot.
No, I couldn't possibly. My stomach reprimanded me with another loud rumble. Against my protest, she spun the knife in her hand and carved a bite of meat. She started to playfully wave the fork in front of my face expectantly. You have another fork?
Come on, don't be like that.
I wanted to object, but I was too hungry to argue. I just bit down on the fork. That's when I felt quite the jarring texture. The meat was tough and fibrous. I had to consciously chew through the leathery sinew, lest I choke on it. I'd never tasted such a distinct greasy tang before. I realized that I never actually asked her where this meat came from. How was she eating this so quickly?
How is it?
Well, it's certainly unique.
Yeah, bear meat is kind of weird like that.
Oh, okay. As I questioned every decision that led me to this point, Mr. Moore and Flintheart came down from upstairs. Dang it, we're not getting another dead mentor at the beginning. Answer's face was stoic as always, but for some frustration bled through. This was never a good sign.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, hello, sweetie. Flintheart's expression lit up as his daughter rushed over to him. Answer glanced at the chessboard on the table. She never really took an interest in chess, but she knew that I'd been undefeated since I was 10 years old.
Don't feel too bad about losing to him. He's nationally ranked. What? You never told me that. I can't believe you exploited a newbie.
If only.
Is that what your suit is for? Are you some kind of traveling chess player?
Nope, chess is just a hobby. I'm a defense attorney.
I didn't even know we had attorneys in Wyvern.
They were definitely a dying breed, the competent ones anyways.
Speaking of, we should probably get going.
Hey, I'd hate to refuse you after you came all this way. I respect what you're doing, but I don't work with these mages of yours. But I won't work with these mages of yours.
Mr. Mora mentioned that before. Was this mystery client a mage? Anyways, it's getting late. If you leave now, you probably won't get to the city until morning.
Hey, she's right. These parts are crawling with brigands and con men. You won't want to run into one of them after nightfall.
I guess you have a point.
The tavern has plenty of empty rooms. Why don't you stay here till morning? It's the least I could do after you came all this way.
Fine. I'm not exactly in a rush to get back on that carriage.
Sweetie, can you help me with the... Pause for a moment, focusing on the giant slab of meat on the table. Did you kill another bear? You barely got through the last one. What are we supposed to do with all this greasy meat?
Eat it! That's what it's for!
How are you even killing these things?
It's not that hard! You just have to keep up with them!
For Lord's sake, you're bloody insane. Oh, why did this scaled lord curse me with a rabid wolf instead of a daughter?
This rabid wolf is keeping your family fed. You know how many commoners in Wyvern are starving?
Don't talk to me like I'm the child. You could... The two continued their bickering as they went up the staircase. How do you expect to find a good husband when you're out in the woods rustling bears?
Excuse me, men are whiny. Up to court me, I am a goddess.
A goddess of war, more like. You're always coming home covered in blood and dirt. So now Ruby is gonna die. Because we stayed over... Oh, I think I see how we're gonna be going about this, which is gonna be interesting. Because we had what's his face. So your talk with Flintheart didn't go well.
Why can't he understand that all of this is bigger than him and his vendetta?
I still have one last thing we could use, Cuthbert. So let's skip back downstairs, pausing about the air, but seeing the air between my mentor and me.
Oh, we're done with your rooms. You can head upstairs if you want to rest up.
Right. Thank you, Sloth. Silence followed us up the stairs as we arrived at our rooms. Samora's hand gripped the handle of the door, but she never turned it.
I'm sorry. I didn't expect our discussion to go for that long.
It's fine. I understand.
I saw you playing chess with Flintheart's daughter earlier. Was everything okay?
What do you mean?
You're kind of a sore winner when you play.
Only when my opponent's a noble. She caught on quickly. She was ridiculously good for a beginner. Playing against her was nice.
Well, I suppose you are at that age.
No, that's not what I meant.
I never really get to play against other players outside of tournaments.
And you only ever want to play shogi against me.
Because shogi is clearly superior.
I actually do want to learn shogi. I know it has a similar concept with chess, but I know there's a noticeable difference with it, but I can't for the life of me think what it is off the top of my head. It's complete anarchy is what it is. You just bring fallen pieces back to life like some kind of necromancer.
It adds depth. Dropping adds a dimension of play that isn't present in chess.
We both glared at each other silently, but all the tension from before had left. After a few moments, we both burst out laughing.
You really have grown up, haven't you? You must have only been 10 when you suddenly showed up in my house.
It was a long time ago.
It was 10 years ago.
You aren't that old, Tyrion. She stayed silent for a moment.
I know that you're just trying to help.
Then why won't you let me?
Cuthbert, it's not the right time.
I'm ready for this, Miss Tamora.
You are. I know you are.
It just made me raise an eyebrow at her. Then what's the issue here? Again, she just stayed silent.
Get some rest. You'll need to prepare for the journey tomorrow.
I winced at that thought. I'd completely forgotten that I'd have to wrangle those horses again. I opened the door and fell onto the bed inside. It wasn't long before night fell. Between driving the carriage and dealing with those two con artists, I was exhausted. I fell asleep, but I felt uneasiness creep into me as the night went on. I felt myself being pulled away, brought elsewhere.
In every direction I looked, there was nothing, only the glass-like floor I was standing on. I saw my reflection in this floor. With each step I took, it rippled and shimmered. I knew that I was dreaming, but something deep inside me insisted that there was something real about this. Found. Whispers echoed through the realms. I spotted the small, dark silhouette of a person in the distance. She was silently staring at me and murmuring something under her breath. Finally found. She repeated the same phrase, almost like a chant. She looked practically giddy in anticipation of something. I missed the line! Hold on. Wait, why isn't it showing anything? Dang it! I think it said something like, something Heavensborn, I think. Like, anyone that wants to read it can just pause it, but I can't go back. The text log is empty. I clutched at my chest. My heart was racing and I was drenched in sweat. It was just a nightmare. I tried to convince myself of that. I shook my head. No, something was happening downstairs. Those voices sound like Celeste and Flintheart's, and they're only getting louder. Please, just let me explain. I don't want to hear it. They definitely weren't bickering about the bear meat this time. I want you out of my house. Get out! After that, there was only silence, followed by someone storming out of the tavern. The front door of the tavern slammed shut, the entire structure swaying from the force. I lay there silent. What could they be arguing about this late at night? It really wasn't any of my business. Hi, Dad. Oh, hello, sweetie. Okay, that's all flashback. The door creaked loudly as I eased it open and stepped out of my room. The hallway was completely dark. Not a single candle was lit. I stepped forward slowly, careful not to trip over anything. Flintheart was trudging up the stairs when I bumped into him. I couldn't see his face, but judging from how he sounded earlier, I probably didn't want to. Sorry. Right, I forgot you two were. His voice trailed off. Is everything okay? Sorry, I'm just going to... I flipped past Flintheart as I went down the stairs. He barely even noticed. Made my way to the dining room. There weren't any lights in the streets. It was nearly pitch black. Hello? No answer. I looked at the entrance to the tavern. The door was hanging open. The wooden frame was cracked. I walked through the village streets, but there weren't any lights on. I regret not taking a lantern on my way out. I heard a squelch as I accidentally stepped on something that was disgustingly soft. I tried my best to ignore it. Celeste? Celeste! Where are you? A groan echoed from one of the nearby shacks. The lantern flickered to life from behind the wooden door. An older man stepped out, squinting against the darkness of the night. Any idea what time it is? He eyed me up and down, taking notice of how I was dressed. It's like the city boy. We like our peace and quiet after sundown. Right. Sorry, I was just looking for Celeste. Who? Celeste McCoy. She's Flintheart's daughter. Something in his expression shifted. Irritation turned into complete contempt. You know her? What do you want with that bastard? What? You probably woke up half the town with their yelling. Look, I just want to make sure she's safe. You got nothing to worry about there. Before I could get another word in, he went back into his house in a huff, slamming the door behind him. I just took a breath and continued searching. Still have that famous temper, I see. You. Honestly, I never understood how you could stand living in this gloomy shack. Look so. How dare you use that witchcraft in my home? From what I've seen, I'm not the first. You've really been stirring the pot. The Four Pillars don't care for what they've been hearing from your rallies. Is that right? I'll be sure to bring that up at the next meeting. For Lord's sake, have some sense, Flintheart. At this rate, you're going to bring Lucio Steelwind down on all of us. You may not value your life, but I will not become another one of his casualties. So you came all this way to convince me to stop? End this foolishness now, and no harm will come to you or your family. You have my word. Your word is as good as the dirt you lick off the king's boots. You're a killer, as if I'd ever trust you. Flintheart, please. As someone who once thought of you as a friend, I'm only going to ask you once.
Friend? Friend? I'll be dead in the ground before I ever call the likes of you a friend. Get out of my house. I don't have time for you.
I don't think you'll have much time for anything.
Damn it.
Damn it all. You stubborn fool. Why couldn't you have just listened to me? Rudolph.
Yes, sir.
The Skilled Lord, what did you... You killed him. Alert the Inquisition. Tell them you saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure their neighbors have heard them yelling at each other. Understood, sir. What am I going to do?
A few hours had already passed, but I found her sitting under an old oak tree. She looked just as tired as I was, probably even more so. Her eyes were wet and red, but she quickly wiped them with her sleeves as she stood up to meet me. I've been looking for you.
Oh, did we wake you up?
I just wanted to make sure you were okay.
It's nothing. We argue like that all the time. I'm fine, see?
She tried to squeeze her lips into a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes.
You should really head back. It's not safe to be out here this late.
What about you?
I can take care of myself.
I just stood there silently for a moment. I'm sure he just lost his temper.
You don't know that.
Sorry. She just looked down and said nothing before exhaling.
Maybe you're right. It wouldn't feel right to let you walk back alone anyway.
She walked past me, leading me back to the tavern. What? We returned, but found the tavern surrounded by knights clad in pirate plate armor. Several carriages were parked outside, and I could see several lights lit within the tavern. Is that the Arcane Inquisition?
Inquisition?
They're an order of knights who investigate crimes committed using magic. Celeste and I shared a glance, but without another word, both of us ran towards the tavern, but she quickly outpaced me.
What? No!
She reached the tavern door, and the color drained from her face. Her hands went to her mouth as she stumbled backwards, her body shuddering. Her voice quivered. Tears began to stream down her face. There you are. Celeste stood there frozen, and Knight stepped between her and the tavern entrance. Celeste McCoy, by the authority of the Wyvern Crown, I'm placing you under arrest. The Knight tried to grab her arm. It was like something flipped inside of her. She slammed her palm into the Knight's chest, his plate armor reverberating as if he was launched several feet backwards. 3 other Knights rushed forward. They tried to grab her and pin her to the ground. She shot a guttural scream against them, almost sounding like a feral animal. It looked like it was taking all of their strength to keep her pinned down. It was like she was a completely different person. I stood there stunned before shaking myself out of it. What are you doing to her? Let her go!
Tyrion?
Thank the Scaled Lord, Miss Tamora was safe. I knew I recognized him from somewhere. Stay out of her way or we'll lock you 2 up right next to her. I need to get more, like, the guttural men voices. I can't draw my voice deep. Like, this man needs, like, a Capitano voice, and I can't do it. Left in a huff, following after the other 2 soldiers as they slowly dragged Celeste away. Mr. Moore, what's going on? Why is the Arcane Inquisition here?
I'm not sure. But Flintheart, he's dead.
What? This has been so much fun. It really has been. Oh boy. Celeste was going to be detained in Rathholm, Wyvernguard's capital city. She was apparently the prime suspect in Flintheart's murder. Her case would be pushed to trial within the day. Supposedly they discovered traces of magic at the crime scene. That honestly just raised even more questions. Mr. Moore and I were determined to get to the bottom of this. The Inquisition, on the other hand, did what they always did.
This is ridiculous. She has the right to speak to an attorney.
Yeah, well, we can't let you see her until she's been processed. Grumpy and apathetic leader of the Arcane Inquisition has a personal grudge against Mr. Moore for as long as I can remember. Please don't... I've never said which route is gonna go down, and I'm like, look, the age gap isn't the worst thing in the world, but I'm still like, it's a little bit too much for me. Orman White was commander of the Arcane Inquisition. Mr. Moore had supposedly run into him many times. He always looked like the textbook definition of someone who was too old for this. I didn't usually accompany Mr. Moore to her crime scenes, but the few times I had, he was always there to run interference. He always looked like he cared more about making trouble for us than actually doing his job. The Inquisition was deep in the nobility's pockets. I'd always assumed they were paying him to sabotage us.
Don't give me that. There's no way you haven't processed her with the trial this close.
Yeah? Unless you can prove it, I don't need to do anything.
What's with all this noise?
The commander's back straightened out, his smirk turned into a wince as the girl walked into the chambers. Whoever she was, she must have been...
She's like your age, probably, Tyrion.
God, you have terrible judgment of age, and I'm not even that good. I mean, also, still, anime, so who knows? She could be like 8,000 years old for all we know. Despite that, her voice carried the weight of her authority, something which Orman clearly relented to. Her aura was cold and rigid as stone. Her disposition was probably equally so.
Celeste McCoy has a right to counsel, and I know who you are, Ruby Tamora.
She turned to Orm. She's almost half his size and was practically flinching at her every word. Well, the girl hasn't been processed yet. Just let an irritated sigh as she waved him away.
Let them through.
What? But...
Let them through before I throw you into the cell next to hers.
Yes, Lady Miss Steelwind. Steelwind? Yay! We have another Francesca von Karma! Prosecutor for the nobility who hails from the House Steelwind, one of the four pillar families in Wyverngard. She is the daughter of Grand General Lucio Steelwind, leader of Wyverngard's military. It's hard to read her motivations even with the Eye of Horus. She gave me a passing glance as if she were silently appraising me. She walked out of the dungeons without another word. Orm grumbled under his breath as he led us to Celeste's cell. I had to wade through a thickening fog of emotions as we descended further into the dungeons. The collective anger and sorrow of the prisoners was choking me. I always hated crowds. I could never shut out the storms of thoughts and emotions that came with them. And I tried my best to keep it together. Celeste was going through a lot more than I was.
Oh!
Celeste was curled up on the cold floor, arms wrapped around her knees. When she saw us, she scrambled to her feet. What are you doing here?
We know about what happened to your father.
I'm so sorry, Celeste.
Thanks.
Her response came out hollowly.
You're the Inquisition's prime suspect in the murder, and they're planning to push your case to trial. You'll be brought to court in a few hours.
What? No one told me anything! Mantra scoffed in disgust. She was all too familiar with this.
They were planning to convict you before you even realized you were on trial.
Celeste, Miss Tamora's the best defense attorney in Wyverngard. She can help you.
You've been supporting your family from your work as a mercenary, is that correct?
Is she just a mercenary?
From your financial history, it appears that you can afford my services. How would you even know that?
It's not important.
What matters is that if I'm representing you, your case is as good as won. You don't even know what happened. Then tell me.
Celeste hesitated, her shoulders tensing at the memory.
I got into an argument with my dad, and I left to clear my head. Tyrion found me a bit after that. I think it was a few hours after I left. When we came back, we saw the knights outside. That's when they arrested me. Celeste, if I'm going to be your attorney, I need to know everything that happened.
What?
They found your sword inside his body, and there were traces of transmutation magic around the crime scene. There aren't any other registered mages in Cornhaven. I need you to tell me the truth. I just told you everything that happened. What are you?
She looked down, confused, before her face tightened into a scowl.
You actually think I did it, didn't you?
Don't you? Damn, I can't read.
You think I was the one who killed him?
Wait, Miss Tamora, before I left the tavern to look for her, I ran into Flintheart. He was still alive.
And how much time passed between that and when you found her?
It's probably about 2 hours, but...
Which means there are 2 hours where she wasn't accounted for. We can work around that, but the prosecution will still... No, I didn't do this! She's telling the truth, Miss Tamora. Celeste would never do something like that.
We've known her for a day.
Cuthbert, you can't just believe every innocent girl who bats her eyes at you. That is not what this is. Well, did you see that she's innocent? Can you tell me that with certainty? Celeste was being defensive at the moment, too guarded for me to read anything substantial with the eye of photos. I didn't see it, but I know that she's innocent. Look, either way, we need to construct a proper alibi so I can— No! How can I work with you if you don't even believe me? Do you even understand the situation you're in? I know exactly what's happening. My dad's dead, and whoever killed him is still out there. Don't be naive. You're a commoner. You're lucky I'm even here. There isn't a single attorney other than me who will defend someone like you. Yeah? Well, what about him? I blinked, confused for a moment, before I realized she was pointing at me. You're also a defense attorney, right?
I am, but...
He's just a kid, McCoy. He's never defended a case before. I don't care. At least he doesn't think I'm a murderer.
Celeste, hold on.
So, you can take your attitude and leave. I don't need your help. Fine, have it your way. But when you're staring down the gallows and begging me to appeal your conviction, I'll be charging you triple my rate.
Before I could understand what was going on, Miss Tamora turned away and stormed out. Oh, that's actually really interesting. I kind of like this because, like, with everything with Celeste, like, she's not only still grieving with her about her dad, because all of those emotions, but then you have all the emotions of being accused of the murder wrapped up in the rushing of the trial. Like, her emotions are on high, and even though it's like, yeah, it makes sense that we technically don't have 2 hours accounted for. We just need to know what happened. Like, she's immediately on the defensive because of all of the heightened emotions. And it's really interesting that it is kind of like, this is how our first foray goes into it. But I think a lot of people probably, if you're like, like the Phoenix Wright, like, trilogy and everything, like, or even the whole series, even if you just know the first game, you're probably like, oh, if this is, like, inspired by it, then they're probably going to go the same way and kill Ruby. Which, it isn't, but it is really interesting that they're kind of... They are following some steps, but it's not immediate. Like, it's not everything is the exact same. As she reached the door, she looked back at me expectantly. I froze. I knew I wasn't in any position to handle a case like this. That said, I also knew I couldn't leave her to face this alone. My mentor let out a quiet sigh before quietly exiting the dungeons. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you in the middle of that. I can go talk to her. I'm sure she'll come back and take your case. No, I meant what I said. I don't want her help. Celeste, this is serious. Your convictions might well be a foregone conclusion to the court. Without Miss Tamora, it'll be fine. I know I just pulled you into this without asking. If you want to walk away, I'll understand. I'll figure something out. She tugged a few times at the cell door separating us. I could have sworn I saw the metal bars bending. I exhaled slowly. I knew I wasn't ready for this. I can't stand by and do nothing. I'll take your case, if you'll have me. Really? There's one thing I need you to tell me. The Arcane Inquisition was called to the scene. I had no idea how they even knew magic had been used, but their presence could only mean one thing. Are you a mage? Yeah, I am. And that villager confronted me before. He called her a bastard. Made a lot more sense now. Do you have noble blood? What does that have to do with anything? The ability to use magic is hereditary. Wait, was Garrick her dad or related to her somehow? Because they both have transmutation magic. Like, I'm presuming it's kind of, like, you're not going to just be, oh, okay, like, the idea of magic is hereditary, but then, like, what you get is, like, you know, up to fate. Like, more than likely, it's, like, the transmutation magic goes down, pyromancy goes down, necromancy, like, all of that kind of, like, flows within a family line. I'm assuming that they're related. But why was Flintheart taking care of Celeste, though? But, like, there was also, like, a thing... Because the thing is, like, Flintheart never had Arcane. But, like, we've seen that it's, like, with the Arcane art, it showed up for Celeste immediately. So I'm wondering if, like, Garrick is related to her or something like that, because 3819, it's not unreasonable. It's not, and again, with the whole idea of nobility, it could be possible that Garrick is her father. Like, theoretically speaking, with the ages, but we don't know, like, kind of, like, the societal system for all that, so maybe not. Almost every mage descends from nobility in some way. If you have birth parents in the nobility, we might be able to use their influence to our advantage. I don't need anyone's help. I'm a McCoy. That's all I need to know about myself. Like, see, like, we have had the occupation mercenary, arcane magic transmutation. That has been there from the beginning. The moment that we knew her name, that has shown. So I'm wondering if, like, and it could be something in which, like, Garrick's family, like, had Celeste, and then Flintheart, like, escaped with Celeste or something, but for some reason they never went to, like, get this, like, missing child or something like that. I'm very curious. It could also be, like, a sibling dynamic, but I'm not sure. Seemed best not to push that matter further, then. Even so, that's probably why they arrested you. What? Mr. Moore mentioned it earlier. A town of farmers like Cornhaven wouldn't have any other registered mages. It's a good thing you registered with the kingdom. Would have just added one extra charge if you hadn't. But they found traces of magic at the crime scene. They have no choice but to suspect you. Are you serious? I'll be honest, I'm not sure how much help I'll really be. Mr. Morris said it herself, I've never defended a client before. Is everything really going to be okay? Why would I even say something like that? A defense attorney should be putting their client at ease. But no matter what, I'll get you an acquittal. It doesn't matter who stands in my way, man, king, or god. What? Sorry, I used to say that a lot as a kid. No, it's okay. At least it made her laugh. Anyways, take some time to rest up. Trial will begin in a few hours. I couldn't imagine what she was going through. She not only lost her father, but was also being framed for his murder. But this was exactly why I became an attorney, to defend people exactly like her. You didn't have to put two exactlys in there. I'm getting critical of the writing. I need to stop. Stories like her were far too common, but this time I had the power to change it. She was putting her trust in me, and I would make sure she wouldn't regret that. And I didn't have time to pause it. But that is where we're going to end it. I know it's a little bit of a weird spot, but I kind of want to try to section a lot of this separate, a little bit similar to Phoenix Wright, where it's like the trial is one thing, the investigation and all of like the leading up to the trial, like that is separate from the trial, so it's not just like everything gets flowed into each other. But I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode. I'm actually really excited. It does, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know, because we don't know too much about like the world building and the fantasy elements, there is a tiny part that has a little bit of a feeling of like generic fantasy. But again, we're not really into that. And the focus of this isn't necessarily, I think, the fantasy elements. It's more of the investigation aspect and the trial aspect. And the fantasy element is an interesting twist on Phoenix Wright. I am really excited to get into this. So hope you guys stay tuned for the rest of the series. If you want to subscribe, this will be coming out 3 times a week, so we'll definitely be getting through this. But I will see y'all next time. Bye.